This one is for introverts. We're looking at ways that you can succeed in your next job interview. So let's get right into it. The first thing that you can consider is scheduling. So if there is an opportunity for you to schedule the interview at a time where you know that you're most energized, then you definitely want to take that opportunity. If you know that after a long day at work, you're not as energized and that you won't be communicating as effectively, then don't schedule your interview at 3 or 4 p.m. So depending on what type of person you are, see if there's an opportunity for you to schedule your interview at a time where you're most energized. And mornings could be good for you, but maybe for you it's midday. We're all different, so make sure that you are considering this when you're scheduling your interview. The next thing is prepare, rehearse, practice. Obviously, this is really important when you're preparing for an interview. We all know this, but there are certain things that you want to take into account when it comes to preparing for an interview. Your goal isn't to study the sample interview questions that you have and then write down responses and learn them by heart, because what happens if the question that you studied by heart that doesn't get asked in the interview? And this is where a lot of people get stuck. So to avoid that, what you ultimately want to do is to understand the strategy behind the interview question. Why are they asking you that question? What are they trying to understand from your skill set? What are they trying to understand about your knowledge? What are they trying to understand about your behavior? This is typically what they want to know and why they're asking certain questions. There are different types of interview questions, behavioral interview questions, situational interview questions. There are knowledge interview questions, stress interview questions. I have another video where I go into way more detail breaking down each type of interview question style. But if you're able to understand why are they asking me this question, then you can tweak your answer and adjust your answer because you've created a formula where you know what are they expecting from me, so you're answering accordingly. This will definitely help you to reduce stress. It will help you to reduce anxiety because you're not freaking out about, oh my gosh, I can't remember what was that word I used in my when I was learning this by heart. But instead, you'll be a lot more calm to know that irrespective of the type of question they ask you, you're able to recognize that this is a behavioral interview question. They're trying to understand how my past behavior will influence the way that I do my work now. So to answer this question, I need to tell a story. So I'm going to use a framework like the STAR method, where I go through the situation, the task, the action, the result, or something like the Carl method, where I go through the challenge, action, result, and learning. So depending on that type of interview question, you will know what type of method you need to implement. And what I just shared with you, the STAR method or the Carl method, are typically the types of methods that you want to use to answer interview questions that are behavioral interview questions. So tell us about a time you did this. Or situational interview questions that are hypothetical situations. So if you were in this situation, what would you do? Those type of interview questions are typically the ones that involve more storytelling and that you will use those methods. But as I said, I do have another video where I go into way more detail about this. So you can definitely check out the link up top and watch that video to get a better sense of what method you should use for each type of interview question. The next thing is, don't be afraid of silence in the interview. It's okay for you to stop and to think. It's okay to stop and reflect. You may have a notepad or a notebook that you bring with you, or maybe you're typing your notes if it's virtual. It's okay for you to actually take a pause and reflect on your answer. As someone who is an introvert, I prefer to think before I speak. And so this is something that you can definitely do in an interview. Obviously within reason. You don't want to spend like 5 minutes thinking of your answer. But if you just need a couple of seconds to regroup and to get yourself together and to get your answers structured properly, then just take that moment to embrace the silence, embrace the pause. Most likely the interviewers are also taking notes, so don't be afraid of those pauses that happen during the interview. Instead, leverage them for you to have the opportunity to think about the next thing that you're going to say. And then use technology to your advantage, especially if it's a virtual interview. You're going to be in your space, you're going to be at home most likely, so take advantage of that to make yourself comfortable. Make sure that you have everything that's necessary for the interview. Make sure that the technology is working, but also with virtual interviews, you're able to keep notes and reminders on your around your screen. Like some people will use sticky notes for that, or using like digital sticky notes within your on your computer is another way to do it. But take advantage of the technology that you have at your disposal to help you in an interview, to be able to reduce that stress level and reduce that anxiety, and to really show up more authentically. There is so much strength in your personality as an introvert, and the goal with an interview is not to pretend to be extroverted for the interview, because at the end of the day you would have created a false image of who you are. You don't want to go to the interview and you're acting like someone else, and then when the interview is finished you're extremely drained, and then when they actually meet you, they're seeing another person. And I was actually talking to a professional recently, and that was what they were explaining to me. They had done all their interviews virtually, and they were able to keep up that high energy during the various interviews, but then the last interview was in person, and they were so drained by the energy and like the process of getting ready and all that their energy level was so low that they couldn't keep up that charade really of pretending to be someone else, and it cost them the job really, because what they said is that they thought that they weren't as confident in person, and it was a job that required them to be in person and not just remote. So trying to be someone else can be detrimental, especially if you're not going to keep it up throughout the interview process or just generally. So at the end of the day, just be yourself. There are organizations out there who are looking for people like you, people who have your personality, people who are introspective, people who have a high level of self-awareness, people who are able to listen before speaking. There are definitely companies and organizations that need people like you. More and more articles are coming out about introverts being the future of the workplace, and the importance of active listening, and we need to listen more as leaders. So, your skills are being appreciated more and more in the times that we're living in. So don't downplay the strengths that you have. The Introvert at Work quiz can definitely help you to uncover the strengths that you have as an introvert. If you haven't yet taken that quiz, just check out the description. I'll put the link there. It's a free short quiz that you can take to help you uncover your most marketable skills as an introvert. And in the quiz, there is a video. Once you complete it and get your results, there's a video that's going to tell you how to use your unique strengths in an interview. So that's definitely something that can help you also to be able to prepare for your next interview, because that video is really tailored based on the strengths that were identified for you in the quiz, and then based on that providing more strategic interview strategies for you. So definitely check out that quiz if you haven't yet. The link is in the description. I'm sharing right here the video on the different interview question styles for you to really get a better understanding of the different types of interview questions that you may get. So I will see you in that video. Take care. Bye.